Okay, it's
Okay, there we go. We are live. Thank you everyone for joining us at Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is an online drawing group. We meet every Tuesday at 4:30 Pacific Time. You can feel free to go to our Facebook page and sign up via the link there, or check the link down below in the doobly-doo, and you can sign up there for weekly reminders or automatic notifications. My name is Mark Monlux. I live in Tacoma, Washington, and my project today is I'm going to be coloring a horror movie monster that looks like a dinosaur. Bill, you're up next. What are you?
hi. Hi, I'm Bill Morse. I live in Seattle, Washington, and today I'm going to be working on my online comic strip rhapsodies.
Enoch, you're next.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a retiree. I'm just picking up my art. So I'm learning from all of you.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'm from Singapore, actually. It's 7:30 in the morning.
Wow, that's
Hardcore.
dedication. Thank you. Thanks for joining us this morning. Mark your calendars, because on the 17th, I won't be able to do Epic Sketch Time. My dad, who lives in the boondocks out here in Washington State, I'm driving him in to get an MRI done. And that's just going to wipe out my day.
How old's your father?
My father just turned 92 last month.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess
So,
should be the age.
He's pretty mobile, but he's not driving anymore. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
if it was up to him, he would drive. But he's more than happy with the way we explained it is, why don't you let us spend time with you in the car? Don't you love us?
Psychology works.
Yeah. So I'll take him to his thing, take him out to lunch, drive him home.
Yeah.
It's about a 2 hour, hour and a half.
Better do your son's
Yeah.
better do your son's duties before we don't have time. Yeah.
Yes, the Confucian spin on those things.
No,
he's got some
human.
Yeah,
It's
oh
human.
yeah.
Nothing about Confucius. Just human.
He's got some excellent clinics where he lives, but his healthcare provider, which happens to be my healthcare provider, their working MRI machine is here in Tacoma where I live. So it makes sense for me to go pick him up, because his various offspring are all around in various cities. And this time I happen to be the closest. But anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's quality time.
Let's see. I'm looking around for my tablet so I can start drawing. I was trying to figure out online how to have the image just showing up here with me down here without having to do a share screen where I'm dominating the screen between all you guys. But I found out that besides the software, which is ODI, I need a secondary software, something that talks between the computer and the tablet to the ODI software. It just basically functions as its independent device, sort of like an Ethernet box that you plug all the cables into, but wirelessly. So I have to go, and I might need a cable, but a friend of mine named Muddy did a bunch of videos on this subject, but I need to track down those videos because I think I bookmarked them, then forgot in what folder I put the bookmark. So, but when I get some I'll just show you guys what this thing looks like real quickly. I'm going to open up the sharing option since we don't have anyone else joining us yet. If we do have additional people join us, what I'll do is I'll put the security back on before I share with, let's see what this is. Okay. Do a little screen share. Oh, it helps if I push the right button on this side. In a sec. There we go. So this is from a really old horror movie where that involves cowboys and dinosaurs.
Oh, is it Guame?
Actually, Guani was a remake of this.
Oh,
This is the older version of it with really bad Mexican actors. So, no, Guani was done with who's the great stop motion animator? Right. And I think that Guani was the third in the movie. This is the very first one, which I think this is the same prehistoric costume. They did have a stop motion thing, but a lot of it was the same guy tromping around in a T-Rex costume, the same T-Rex costume that was used for, I think it was 1 million BC.
oh wow.
Which was, who was the really handsome guy who was in The Robe and a bunch of other Sword and Sandals movies?
Oh, Lancaster or
no.
Heston.
Not Tyrone Power, not Troy McClure.
Well,
He was also in the Monkees movie called Head. I think that was his last appearance.
ooh.
His names are on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, this was one of his first movie roles because he was big and beefy, and basically it was a beefcake movie for back in the black and white era. Anyway, so that's what I'm gonna be coloring this up with some basic colors. And hopefully in the next hour, I'll be able to color all of it. I'll start in with some basic fills and then go in and do some textures and hopefully a highlight layer and a tint layer. And Bill, why don't you show us your mermaid drawings? I know that you've gotten a couple down. I know you're doing a mermaid for every day in May, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm having this considering how fast I'm going through them, I might be masochistic enough to do that for real. But let's see. Easier for me to give me a second here. I can just wave the physical ones over the screen, but considering the plastic reflects in an odd way, it's probably better for me to do them.
Yeah, if you've got some digital ones, we'd love to see them. I know that you've been doing them in watercolor.
Mm-hmm. So I've been making some very good progress. And here's what I have so far. Day 1, workers.
So there are theme words as well.
There's a prompt list of which I have very mixed feelings about, but I rather like the community feel that these communal lists give you. Siren, glossy, but which I decided to interpret as glossy makeup, a lipstick. Star Wars for May 4th. Symbiotic. Ghostly. Doodling. Doodle, actually, but Mother. Sea Life. Vibe. Superstar. Mermaids.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's funded by the toy line of the same name. But I decided to be oblivious to the actual dolls and go with the maze. Cyberpunk. Cozy. Pet.
Kelly. Now, is there a reason you chose the name Kelly?
Because I was looking for words that meant for names that meant green.
Oh, okay.
And it was the only green name where it wasn't actually the color was the name. Electronic games. And emotional. And now I am racking my brain to figure out the prompt for tonight, which is pirate.
Pirate.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's easy to do a mermaid dressed as a pirate, but at the same time, it always seems a little forced.
The first thing that comes to my mind is a mermaid peeking into the broken hull that's been submerged with the skeleton of a pirate clutching a treasure chest.
Well,
And so, hey, feel free. You don't even have to show all the skeleton, just the top part of him going like this, like you wanted to take him with them, you know.
That definitely is better than any ideas I had. But otherwise, I've been going at a very good pace with these, though last night's batch took me a lot longer than I expected. I thought I'd start giving myself an early start, and when I finished, to my surprise, it was 10:50.
Wow.
I think it was because those two were relatively complex ones. Though I was pretty happy with last night's batch, which were the video games and the emotional one. And when I'm saying batch, one reason I'm as far ahead as I am is not just because I started early, because it makes for good Patreon fodder, but because I find it, when I'm doing smaller watercolor sketches, I find it easier to do two at once because it allows me to have something to do while I'm waiting for the first wash to dry.
Well, if nobody has any objections, I'm going to go ahead and take over screen sharing while I'm coloring this.
Okay.
And to do the basic broad strokes. Let me put this in. Oh, I always do this. Forgot to go on the layer below it. Just filling in all the teeth. Putting each one of these color options on a different layer. Think I'll make the eyes yellow.
You don't, there aren't any references that show what color this dinosaur suit was, do you?
No, there's there's all the cameras back in the days were black and white.
Hmm.
There wasn't even color photography at this point. So
I found it interesting that it was one of the examples of sort of historical props where the prop appears in more than one film, and wondered if it was in a museum somewhere.
you know, I wonder if it's still kicking around somewhere. What I do know is that at its neckline, there was a mesh. They shot the creature dark because there was a mesh that the guy wearing the suit could look through.
Hmm.
And I think he actually had to pull his hand in from one of the arms to work the jaws at some point. Let's see. I'm going to go in and do just a really rapid shadow. I'll put that up top. And let's see. Make this layer. I'll just start with it at 50%. Oh, I need to turn off the reference.
I admit that's one of the frustrating things about Patreon, Procreate for me, that you have to remember to switch the references as you are coloring things.
So I watched a particularly bad DC movie over the weekend, something that came out over 10 years ago.
Bad, or I mean, a steel bad, or
well, they didn't want it to be bad, but it came out as bad. The movie was Jonah Hex.
Oh, the trailer was enough for me to avoid it.
No, it could have been okay, but
yeah,
there's really no need to go into exposition to the length that they did. I was kind of going, wait a minute, this got John Malkovich in it as the bad guy. What? John Malkovich is a fairly decent actor. But and while I had a horse, oh, pardon me, I had a horse that had a name. Its name was Horse. Had a dog, but the dog didn't have. They didn't even bother giving the dog a name since the name of the horse was Horse. Obviously, it's supposed to like be an inside joke that no one really cared what the name of these animals were. Bill, I'm assuming you still haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I'm pretty sure I haven't, because I'm not recognizing the name.
Good movie.
At the moment, I am being very tempted by The Bad Guys, which is at my very local theater right now. So I am.
Now, this happens to me sometimes, Bill, when I do a flood and suddenly I get a different color than what I wanted. I'm just going to back this up.
Layer?
No, it's on the same layer.
Okay.
Oh, the opacity, somewhere along the lines, the opacity got when I started doing the fills, the opacity changed. That's what did it. My thumb, where I gripped the edge of the paper, must have touched something.
That's caught me a few times.
So I might as well just go all the way back to the beginning. Oh, I hate that. Yeah, it was over here. Go in and. Right now, it looks like it's black, but what it, whoops. It's only because I haven't changed the opacity here. Put it at 50. Why? I went back so far, it's messing with the reference again. There we go. Now everything's working. Ugh. Bill, I meant to tune into Freelance Fandango online,
Mm-hmm.
but as it turned out, having a late breakfast with my wife preempted it. And then the next thing you know, I was going with her shopping for plants. So how was Freelance Fandango?
Oh, pretty good, just pretty average. Just the usual bunch, me, Stowe, Heather, and who was the other one? That musician. What's his name?
No Stan Brown?
Oh yeah, and Stan. And actually, it was pretty informative. There were some pretty good conversations in it, which advice and whatnot, technical details, politics, some movie talk.
What movies?
Oh damn, I'm forgetting now. I know we were
Recent ones or old ones?
recent. I was talking. I mean, as I said, I was curious about the bad guys, which looks very pretty. It's using that same 3D, 2D, 3D line art fusion that they did with Spider-Verse and Meet the Robinsons.
What was the last movie you saw, Bill?
No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, so it's been a while since you've been to the theater.
Mm-hmm. Though admittedly, that was a pretty relatively late showing. I meant to see the Batman, but I'm afraid I dragged my feet a little too long as far as seeing it at the local theater is concerned.
Yeah. And you don't have AT&T.
I do, but you've told me about that deal before, but I've yet to find it on my package. I'll have to look again.
Well, what you can always do is go to HBO Max,
Mm-hmm.
and where it says to sign in, you just go down to where it says sign in via service provider,
Uh-huh.
and you go in click on AT&T and then use the same password and stuff that you use to get into your AT&T account. And if you've got it, it'll just let you in. And if you don't have it, then it'll just say, sorry, your service doesn't cover this.
Okay. Yeah, because as I said, the first time you told me about this, I did look, but I did not see it mentioned on the AT&T webpage.
I wonder if it's showing anywhere else.
I'm sure it is. Because I mean, the theater I'm talking about only has 3 movies at a time, so it's so it not being there forever isn't completely ridiculous.
What are you watching these days, Bill? Any particular shows?
Oh, every now, not much. I'll whatever. Sometimes something that catches my interest on Netflix, or there's a few animated shows that caught my interest. I started watching the Blade of the Immortal animated anime show, which I knew was very good because I'd seen clips of it in the past, but now it was finally on Amazon in the package.
So you have Amazon Prime.
Yeah. And yes, I know it makes me sound like a cheapskate, but I'm mostly limiting my streaming search choices.
No, that's fine. I don't have a number of streaming things. I don't have Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I would love to watch all the various Star Wars things.
Mm-hmm. And I just checked for the Batman, and it looks like nowhere in city limits.
No, I don't think it's in theaters anymore. Now that it's streaming.
Oh, it was streaming from the beginning, I believe. Though, admittedly, the business model, I don't pretend to understand the business model behind streaming versus theater.
So I'm trying to remember the name of this guy's blog. He's basically a writer, does TV writing for various shows.
Uh-huh.
And he gets residuals coming in off of all the shows that he's done. And some shows that, when it goes and shows in a repeat, it might be $350 to $500. But if it's via a streaming platform, he gets next to nothing. He
Hmm.
gets like, $8 or $350.
For what, 1,000 view, 1,000 views or something?
No, it's just basically whenever you stream something online, it's for a time span. It's time stamped.
Uh,
But he would makes about that sounds like between $5,000 and $3,000 a month from his residuals
hmm.
because he's been doing it for a while. And I'm
Right.
thinking, that's nice. That kind of takes the edge off when you're between projects or working on other things.
Yeah.
I just realized I'm not being heavy-handed enough with this shading. Well, I'm a little bummed out that Katie's not here this week because I was really looking forward to hearing how Friday, um, pardon me, Texas Nightmare did for
Yeah.
her.
I mean, the pictures she posted made it look pretty fun.
I spent part of my afternoon out in the yard today because tomorrow is yard waste day. And I had a bunch of branches. Whoop, what's this? That was one of my alarms going off. We got 15 minutes left in our drawing sessions. Not much in the way of tutorials this week.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
I'm not doing this fast enough. I really wanted to get all of this done. And the thing about doing things digitally like this is I keep redoing things. Like redrawing a line edge until I feel comfortable with it. Is that something you always have difficulty with, Bill? Redrawing the same line?
yeah. Sometimes, I mean, I try to go with the flow and not obsess too much because that way leads to madness. But even so, I I I've been known to waste over 15 minutes correcting a whole lot of things at the very end of a piece.
I think back of when I was younger and would just draw one ink line and call it good.
I mean, one thing I like about my watercolor exercise is because you can't.
Yeah, you're committed. Once you do something, that's it.
Yeah. So obviously, and so therefore you can't beat yourself up about them, even when sometimes there's embarrassing mistakes in them. For example, with that last one I did, I thought the arm that the mermaid was resting her head on looked too long. It's probably something that only I will notice, but it can be frustrating. But it also teaches you how to try and get it right the first time, though, and I also make it clear to myself that these are, even though they're fairly slightly elaborate watercolors compared to some of the other watercolors that the finished watercolors that I'll do, they're sketches.
I'm reading a book called The Dark City, which you can check out at the library.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the best books about noir films I've ever read.
Oh, I think you mentioned this one before.
Yeah.
As I seem to recall being more than a little dense about it, and immediately assuming that it was about the sci-fi noir movie.
Oh, that's right. We did have this conversation. My apology.
No worries. It led to some very interesting things about the definition of noir. And how for those particular arguments, we weren't including stuff like Blade Runner in the conversation.
No, that was going strictly with the time period of the 50s. Well, there's been some really good noir since then. And I think that there's a lot of films that hit that, receive that classification.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Altman Marlowe movie, which I keep blanking on the name of it, the one with Elliot Gould.
Yes. And I think that's The Big Sleep.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure. I hope I'm not getting confused with another one. But
but I don't know if that even counts as neo-noir. Though, if I remember correctly, one of the things Altman was having with it was having Gould acting like he was in the 50s, and which was clashing against the 70s environment that he was living in.
have you seen that film?
Oh yeah, I did it as a double feature with Marlowe films. I'm forgetting though I don't remember what other Marlowe film I watched it with. I don't think it was the Bogart one, though actually it might have been the Marlowe one.
Are you going to go back to doing a double features, Bill, or?
I might. It's always
It was something that I really looked forward to when you were doing it.
yeah, and it did a good job of introducing me to new stuff. Because the whole finding a theme thing had me watching movies that I would not have watched otherwise. I mean, considering how much the lockdown hit everybody, I don't think Scarecrow is going to start their 2-for-1 sale up again anytime soon, but it's nice that I'm now able to browse there again.
Well, you could always encourage them to bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll be that one voice that does it.
Maybe, that at the same time, I understand that they have money woes at the best of times. So while, yes, I'd be all for it, if they can't, I understand.
Well, I think I'll show everyone how far along I've gotten by backing up on this. Oh, I finally sent in my last invoice on the Tacoma Artist Initiative project, so that's officially all done.
Cool.
Okay, so I got most of the shadows done on this. I just still need to do the left arm and a couple things around the right vein, and then I'll do some of the highlights. But yeah, he looks. And then I might do some textures to for some bumpy scales that might add some more depth to them.
It's
So
weird.
that's do you have anything to show before we sign off, Bill?
Nothing particularly. I didn't make that much progress on it, but if you're, just a second. That's as far as I got, though I was beginning to get my pace going.
Now, I'd like to mention to everybody who's listening to go to the Graphic Artists Guild website and check out the link to the Creators Conference. The Creators Conference is going to be happening on one day, and it's going to host a series of 3 panels that's later this month. And it's all going to be about copyright, contracts, right grabs. They're going to have various lawyers and panelists and trade leaders talking about all these topics. And it should be extremely informative, and it's completely free. You don't have to pay for a thing. And you don't have to attend all 3 panels. You can choose which one you want to and just go like that. Bill, do you have any, did you do the Cartoonist Northwest Drink and Draw? Was that last week?
It was last week.
Okay, so anything else on your agenda that you want to pump for this week?
Not for this week. Yeah, no, nothing that I'm aware of for this week.
Okay, and as far as I know, there's no conventions happening this week. I believe SakuraCon was last week.
It was about 3 weeks ago. That was Easter.
Pardon me. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for coming to Epic Sketch Time. It was great to see you all. And I'll see you again next week. But then the following week on the 17th, we're going to be taking time off. So
Okay.
I'll see you then, Bill.
Okay, have a good one.